Brought to you by Penguin.
All Dogs Great and Small, written and read by Graeme Hall. For excellent Gordon, without whom none of this would have happened. This book is a work of non-fiction based on the life, experiences and recollections of the author. In some cases, names of people, places, dates, sequences and the detail of events have been changed to protect the privacy of others. Foreword by Julian Norton. I had a busy morning on the farm, pregnancy testing cows, with my arm in the place where most farm vets put them if we don't know what else to do. As we worked our way through the herd, Eric, the farmer, related a strange problem about his adolescent Springer Spaniel. It was a problem the likes of which I'd never come across before. He explained the situation, I think looking for a solution. My new dog has a strange problem. I don't know what to do, and it's getting rather embarrassing. Every time the telephone rings, he ejaculates all over the kitchen floor. Any ideas what might be going on in his head? What do you think I can do? Is it normal, is it? Have you heard of this sort of thing before? He emphasised one word with unnecessary vigour. After I'd pulled my arm out of the cow and picked myself up off the floor, having collapsed with laughter, I regained my composure and a small degree of professionalism. Well, Eric, I've never heard of that before, I confessed, between chortles. Eric was not amused, because it was getting to become quite a messy problem, as well as an embarrassing one. Maybe you should change your ringtone was the only advice I could give. As vets, we often see dogs, and sometimes cats, rabbits and ferrets with behavioural issues. Some are funny, like Eric's Spaniel, and some are more serious, causing anxiety to the canine and concern to the owner. Many of these problems are deep-seated and complicated, and not easily investigated by X-rays or blood tests, harder to cure than a deep-seated skin infection or a disease of the prostate gland. Even a broken bone or a torn ligament has the chance of a once-only surgical repair. We must remember that dogs are both pets, fully assimilated into the family of humans and an integral part of the pack, but also reasonably primitive beings, not a million miles away from a wolf. My first dog, Paddy the Border Terrier, who was cuter than any dog I've enjoyed the company of, quickly reverted to his inner wolf when he got the smell of a deer or hare. He was fired by adrenaline, but even with this, and powered by the red mist, his little legs stood no chance of ever catching his quarry. So the job of adjusting, balancing and juggling the complicated canine brain, which strives to advance itself to match the rest of the pack on the one hand, and yet obsessed by pheromones and anal scents on the other, is beset on both sides by conflicting inequities. I do not envy the challenges that Graeme is faced with every day. I felt privileged to have been asked to write this foreword. Graeme and I have a lot in common. We're both from Yorkshire. We both have found an unlikely home on Channel 5, a home where we can both share our love and work for anyone who cares to watch. We both earn our living by working with animals, which is a privilege in itself. The circumstances of our first meeting and how we came to talk about me doing the foreword of this book were unusual. In London, at Television Centre Wood Lane, one damp day in February, we met outside the green room. I'd just appeared with Holly and Phil on This Morning to promote my most recent book, A Yorkshire Vet, the next chapter, the fifth in a line, which represented my latest obsession. Graeme had been promoting the new series of his popular show. I think his animals were quite well behaved on set. Well, they would, I suppose. Mine had not. Peter the alpaca had taken instant dislike to the presenters. Holly panicked and hid behind the sofa, as she's prone to doing, and Philip received a face full of alpaca spit. Luckily, the arrival of a vet who's familiar with the curious camelids quickly restored order. After our respective scintillating appearances on the award-winning daytime show, we were both buzzing with the after-effects of adrenaline and chatted in front of the big screen where publicity photos are taken. Generally, this is the place for taking Instagram snaps, but we both found it hilarious and ridiculous in equal measure. At one point, Lorraine Kelly walked past on her way to presenting her own award-winning show and said good morning to both of us, just as if we were both best friends, and it was all completely normal to meet Graeme and Julian on a Thursday morning outside the green room. I've been in a few green rooms over recent years, and when talking about them, I always feel compelled to explain that they're not green at all. They're just like normal rooms. There's nothing green or special about them. But that's fine, because there's no reason why these rooms would be special, because in fact they're not filled with megastars or divas. Most of the time they're filled with normal people doing pretty normal things who just happen to be on telly. Like Graeme and me. Normal people doing normal things, but with interesting creatures as our subjects. This book explores a career working with amazing animals, and it's an insight into Graeme's unlikely insertion.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?